Kathleen and I flew to Tortola for a one-week charter cruise on a catamaran, unfortunately right behind Hurricane Sandy, as you can see in this photo.
Shoot video one and pictures a second, I guess. Get the water. Cool. Super cool.
Here's Charlotte and Molly from Paradise Point. The hotel was pretty much right smack in the middle, as was the marina terminal. The west end of St. Thomas there in the middle now, and just over that low ridge was the airport. We're looking pretty much due west right now, and as I pan to the left, we're looking towards the south. After spending the night in Charlotte and Molly, we took the ferry over Tortola and passed this catamaran en route. We got underway immediately when we got to the charter and sailed to Great Harbor of Peter Island, where we overnighted. The next morning, these pelicans were fishing for their breakfast. That afternoon, we sailed around to Dead Man's Bay, where you can see the resort on the south side of the island here. This is the idyllic bay itself with the crystal clear waters, and as I pan to the right, you'll see all the sailboats anchored and the resort itself.
Maybe if we get in the water, it won't be like sticky.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like it was full when I put my foot
in. This is the steel band at the resort. Here's the gang ordering drinks at the resort and a nice shot of the bay. Late that afternoon, we motored on to the marina in Spanish Town where we overnighted, and then we moved on to Trellis Bay that evening for the full moon party. The next day we did some snorkeling, and here are a few pictures of the flora and fauna in the waters around Tortola. We went to the baths at Virgin Gorda, but unfortunately, because of the remnants of Hurricane Sandy, there was a huge swell from the north, which created these big waves at the baths. Normally the baths are just that. The water is very calm and placid and you can lounge in it, but not today. After exploring the beach, we went up the hill where you could see a great view of Tortola and, of course, had a few more drinks. We moved on to Copper Mine Point where there used to be an actual working mine. Here's the one of the structures itself, and this is supposedly the boiler that they use to make steam to power the plant. Next stop was Little Dick's Bay Resort, where we swam along with some of the guests. From Little Dick's, we went up to Gorda Peak, where you could see the bay, Virgin Gorda towards the west, and Saba Rock in the middle between the islands, and Bitter End Yacht Club. These two views are of the pretty water of South Sound of Virgin Gorda. Our taxi dropped us at Leverett Bay, where we swam and had a few drinks. Notice the British-style phone booth on the far left there, and the dinghy dock of the club. Next stop was Saba Rock and the restaurant. Nightly at 5 o'clock, they would feed the tarpon by hand from the pier.
Tarpon come around this time of day for a handout.
They're awesome. Can you see it all, George? Is that a permit? Come on! Wow, great!
Saba Rock had a toucan, which, as you can see here, was a hungry little critter. We ate dinner that night at the restaurant on Saba Rock, and then the next morning we toured the Bitter End Yacht Club. These are some pictures of the yacht club itself, as well as the North Sound, where the yacht club is located. That big old catamaran is Richard Branson's. Saba Rock on the left, the Bitter End leading to the Atlantic in the middle, and the Bitter End Yacht Club restaurant, and the Saba Rock from behind. This is Richard Branson's burned down house on Necker Island. And this is the little island in Microsoft Screensaver. After transiting to Joost Van Dyke, we went to the bubbly pool, which was quite lively with the north swell from Hurricane Sandy. Next, we went to Great Harbor and the famous Foxy's for a few drinks and a few more t-shirts. The next morning, we headed over to White Bay in the famous Soggy Dollar Bar, home of the original Painkiller, a sunny drink for shady people, while we bought t-shirts, watched the other folks arrive for painkillers, and then we took a little dip in the water on the beach there before taking a little short walk and then heading back to the boat. This is Steel Point, the extreme west end of Tortola, as we headed to the shops at the west end. Here's the folks stopping for a drink en route on the boat, and the shops at the west end. As we headed to the caves that afternoon, Jay put his sandals out to dry and hopefully air out. Apparently they were quite stinky. Kathleen taking the kayak out for a spin, and then both of us taking the kayak out for a spin. Here are more shots of the underwater life. These fish weren't shy. They came within inches of me. And some coral here, very big coral. If you want to see what an anchor looks like, anchored, well, here you go. Here's one view, and here's another. This is a plow anchor, and it digs in, obviously, to hold the boat in place. Here's some fire coral and some fish, and a very odd multicolored fish, though very, very pretty. The last time in the water was the Schonenberg wreck, as you can see the screw here. Notice Daniel in the background, he's texting his girlfriend, which he was always doing. Here's a nice mansion on the way back as we headed back to the marina where our cruise ended. Unfortunately, bummer. And finally, here are Bernice and Daniel, our crew.